Okay, Francis, Paul here. So I came up with an alternative. This is one that I think we talked briefly about it yesterday, and I looked through some samples that I had of some extrusions of rubber-like products, and so I found this, and I'm going to pull it out here and show you what it looks like right now. But the thought is to get an extrusion. This has 1-inch legs on the extrusion, and it's 1 3/8 across the back. We need it to be just under 2 inches across the back, because this is 2 inches wide, but it does have a little bit of a lip right here. I don't know if you can see that lip. So whatever that measures on the inside is what I really need for width on this. And the idea would be that we would put this cap over it in between the wood and the aluminum, and these legs would conform to the shape of the boat. Now, a cutwater, like when we put a stainless cutwater on a boat like this, we don't seal it off. We want water. If water gets, you can't keep water from getting up in there, and you don't want to seal it off so that when your boat's out of the water, it drains. And so this would still drain if we did this method. Any water that got behind it would still drain out of this stem bead. And if you don't drain it, then you hold water in there and you create a rot pocket right at your stem, which would not be a very smart thing to do. So what I've got in mind is something like this. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what this looks like. Keep in mind, this one is not wide enough. This one is only 1 3/8 wide, but we would buy one that is 2 inches side to side with these inch legs, and that would fit in there, and it would look very nice. And we don't know what was originally there. There may have been something similar to this originally that, the rubber rotted out on it 20, 30 years ago, right? And so then they just put it back up as best they could without this insert in the middle, and that's my guess is what happened. So right now I'm trying to find out how much 20 foot of this is going to be, and then we'll get the exact dimension on the inside here. You can see the lip a little better, maybe right here. How it's a little higher over here and a little higher over here. And so we just need something that fills the space in between, and I believe that will cure our problem. And so one other thing I forgot to talk about yesterday, twice, was that what we'd like to do on the transom is use the transom the existing transom as a template. We would like to we'd like to do all of our experimentation on this. In other words, we would take this transom and we would, cut out on the deck, and we would cut out, we've even got a little tape as to where we think we have to cut out. We would cut that out. We would mount the engine and make sure that the engine can rotate from side to side, and make sure that we're good on all of that before we take this transom out, and then we would use this transom as the template on the new transom. So if that's what we do for next steps, then that means that we need the motor as the next step. We need to figure out what motor we're going to use and go ahead and purchase it, new or used, but we need to go ahead and get it. We have a little work that we can do to keep the process moving. One thing we can do is we can go ahead and paint the bottom. We could even go ahead and paint the sides. We can go ahead and take care of, we've taken care of the repair on the decks. We can paint the decks. We can all do those kinds of things. And then we can replace the flooring. We can put in, we've got the tank already built. We can put the tank in and put the floor supports across. Matter of fact, I'd make sure that we get the floor supports in the back area of the boat before we take the transom out, because otherwise this will kind of spread, or could spread. I guess it won't, because we'll still have our deck intact, or a portion of our deck intact. But we're going to have to cut out part of the deck. We're going to have to cut out part of the transom. And like I say, our thought is do that prior to, do that and use that as a template. Mount the engine, make sure there's not going to be any issues before we start cutting up brand new wood. So with that, I'm looking forward to talking with you on Friday and seeing what we need to do next on the project to keep it moving. Thank you.